Good morning and welcome. We are doing our lecture 6 today. I say lecture 6 because the substantive content is Plato on reality versus appearance, Ortega on man's nature. Then we moved on to the business ethics questions after we had done the informed consent medical ethics questions. So sequentialism, motivism, or the motivism, okay? Went through them. Then we looked at deontology. We saw problems with them. So those are the substantive content. Today's own is first getting you introduced to epistemology, and then giving you one epistemological text to engage, which I believe you are doing fine with as groups. Descartes, okay, or individuals. I don't remember how I set it for you immediately for City Campus especially. So we are going to look at that. Now on your screen, you will see that I'm projecting that content, which is there at your resource tool. All the content we are engaging are there. So a responsibility that people have is to take what has been given to them, use them for their benefit, and excel. That's all. You have to find it. Something that has been put there for you, you have to take it and eat and grow. If you don't take it, you won't grow. So please do that. The question of epistemology in logic, in philosophy, epistemology simply means one of the branches that we have, just like we have dentistry if we're doing medicine. We can have a medical doctor who is a dentist, another who is a gynecologist. They are all doctors, but doctors with different, focus of what? Emphasis. What they are practicing is different. So their focus, one is focusing on the eye, another is focusing on the ears, another is focusing on the teeth. I think the ear and eyes even do ENT and whatever, ears and so on, and throat. Okay. So these are different branches, if you like, of medicine. When it comes to philosophy, we have different branches of philosophizing, okay, of reason, fundamental questions, and solving fundamental problems of society. Some of our questions are metaphysical in nature, some are epistemological, some are ethical, and some are, and so on and so forth. So we've done some metaphysical questions, we've done some ethical questions, and we are going to do epistemology. Okay. Two words come together to form epistemology. One is episteme, the other logy. You see it on your screen. Logy means the study of it. Episteme means knowledge. So the study of knowledge is what we mean when we say epistemology. What then are the questions that are interesting in doing epistemology? First, the basic question, what is knowledge? The question of knowledge. Knowledge traditionally has been answered in philosophy as what? Justified true belief. A claim that you believe is true and you can justify it. You can give reasons to support it. That is when you say you know. So if I say I know that Asimesi will get A in the course, the traditional view of knowledge in philosophy thinks that that means you believe and it is true. Truth means it is there. The thing is true, you believe it, and you have justification, you have reason, grounds to support the claim you are making that the person will get an A. So I gave you an instance there. If I say I know the lecture, it means I believe it is true and I have justification for the claim that I know the lecture. Okay. So as soon as I make a claim of knowledge, I presume the claim of existence. That's the traditional view. supposedly, which is subject to a lot of reflections later and critiquing and quipping and all that. But that is the traditional view of knowledge, which is what justified true belief. There's another question that is interesting to epistemology. That is, how do we know? Not just what is knowledge, but how do we come to know? How? The source. There are two main sources, senses and mind or reason. The senses is what we mean when we talk of seeing, hearing, touching, tasting, and smelling. These things I'm telling you now, they are written down already. Look at your slide. These are notes. So if I come to tell you notes, it's the work I do. I'll be glad to. Don't have a problem. But it is not a good way to learn at a tertiary level. It won't help you, the student, so much because you will be spoon-fed all the time. I don't want you to do that. I want to come and help you see what you don't see in the slides. So I wish you have contact with the contact. I presume you do. But when I ask you and you don't tell me, I will know whether you know it or not. So I'll be telling you things that you should be able to pass English, call English messages, and be able to read these lines. Look at that. This is something you can read to see if you are doing your part of the bit. I hope you are. I don't know whether you are doing it or you are not doing it. The only way I'll know is when I ask you, you will respond and tell me that X, Y, and Z. So the lecturer will know, okay, students generally have captured this side. So let me help them understand the evogenous argument, for example, or cogito ergo sum. Then my work will augment what you have done because I've given you the slides already. But when you ask the student what a lecture we've done already, a class of over 100, I mean, nobody's raising their hand. It's frustrating because I don't like if students can get A, why should they go and get C? I mean, yes. So my passion. If the person, this is something the student can easily make an A with a little push and a little effort. And no matter how you are pushing, the person is forcing her to get C and E, and they are still passes, but you can get the best pass if you just cooperatively engage content. So maybe I'm just thinking that you don't know. Maybe you don't like talking about what you know when you are asked. It's not a good training. You should speak when they ask you a question. You raise your hand and talk. Like in the university. Why? Anyway, so I'll move on. I'm going to lower all the hands now. When we ask you for something you want to, then you raise your hand. Okay. Back to where I was. So there are two sources. The senses is one, and then the other one is called the rational source. The senses include seeing, hearing, touching, tasting, smelling. Okay, whilst the other source is altogether called reason. Look out for names like those over there who are considered empiricists. The word empirical source. When you use experience to come to know. So I heard it, I tasted it, my hands handled it. That is how I got to know that it is hot. I heard that Ghana gained independence in 1957. It means I sourced that knowledge experientially from an empirical source. It makes me an empiricist if I believe that the ultimate source and justification for all claims of knowledge is the senses. The authors you see down there are empiricists. The other source is mind, and that is not brain. You can think of it as spirit, soul, body, whatever. That is collectively called the rational source. Okay, so rationalists include the authors you see on your screen. You should know that as well. And based on that, we get to the third most central and most fundamental question of epistemology. That is the most fundamental one. What is knowledge is not too problematic. How do we know it's not even an issue much? The one that generates a lot of contention for philosophical thinkers is the question of how we justify our claims of knowledge. On what basis do you say that I know that you make a first class? If I say I know that lady will make a first class, and you ask me, what is the basis for what you are saying? Or how do you justify this claim you have just made? I can be found wanting. How do we justify our claims of knowledge? One group, the rationalists, say we justify justification for our claims of knowledge is what? Mind. And I've told you mind is not brain. So you can reflect on that. Whilst the empiricists say it is the senses. So the contention then is which of the sources is the ultimate and true justification of our knowledge claims. Now that takes us to Descartes' Meditations 1 and 2. What is Descartes? Is he rationalist or empiricist? I want a chorus answer.
Empiricist.
That is wrong, sir.
It's a rationalist.
So Descartes is a rationalist. I just projected that. It has been with you all this while. Look at this. That is my worry. The whole plenty talking I'm talking is that. You see, look at this slide. So philosophers who hold the view that reason is the true and ultimate source of all knowledge are described as rationalists. They include Plato, Rene Descartes. Look at the name there. Spinoza, Proust. Now, 2 slides after that, my dear friends, I ask you, is Descartes rationalist or empiricist? I said I want a chorus answer. 2 people answer. 1 is correct, 1 is wrong. At least they attempted to answer. A class of over 100. You're expecting over 200. That is the problem. It's not the content. See that? Yeah. Okay, so I continue. So he's rationalist. That will immediately help you focus. In your mind, you realize that then his argument is going to emphasize reason as a source of knowledge and not the senses. That alone will help you frame your mind in reading the text and engaging the content. Okay. So Descartes' paper, which is titled Meditations 1 and 2, like Reflections 1 and 2, helps us see it is addressing an epistemological question, a question of epistemology, which is what? He was trying to establish whether we can know anything at all for certainty. That is what Descartes was doing. He tried to ask the pertinent question, is there anything we can know for certain, 100%? Why would anybody just get up one day and then, as he or she is sitting, reflectively ask this question? The reason is Descartes, together with all of us, would have been frustrated about the way you think you know something, and it turns out that what you think you knew, wasn't true after all. Like the doctor tells someone that you cannot have babies because of the experience I have, and then it turns out that that was false. The person gets to get a baby. Like meteorologist tells us it will rain heavily tomorrow, and then it doesn't rain, or rather that it will not rain tomorrow, and then it rains. It's very frustrating. These are experts. Or the astrologist or astronomist studies the weather and the universe and all, and tells us that the Earth is in the middle of the planetary motion, and it is rather all the other planets moving around the Earth, because man is in the Earth and the Earth is the center of God's attention. So Earth is central, it's at one place, and all the other planets are revolving around it. Then, after thousands of years, it turns out that it was false. That it is rather the sun that is stationary, and that the sun is millions bigger than the Earth. Now, if your senses, talking, seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, tasting. If it has deceived you for so long, on what grounds will you trust that same senses? So Descartes is frustrated like any other person would be. You thought you saw the person's hand inside the soup, so you thought you have caught it. It comes out that he was just picking a dead fly out of the soup. You thought you have seen the secretary. You heard the Dr. Miles talking at the back there. So you say, oh, Doc is in. We go and sit down. We all get ourselves organized. The person comes in. He was a it was another person. Your ears deceive you. Your eyes deceive you. Your thoughts, excuse me, I say your thoughts, your taste, the same food, the same drink that you thought was the best, the same perfume that smells like heaven for you. Now doesn't smell good. What is the problem? What is going on? It's the senses. It is not trustworthy, says what? Rene Descartes. So he argues like this. Keep looking on my screen. You're almost done. He sets off to find out, is there any knowledge that is so certain? Certainty is his quest. He was looking for that which is certain. You cannot raise any iota of doubt about. Look at the way we express that. It is indubitably true, from the word undoubtful, indubitable. Mm? Truth that is absolutely correct. That was his quest in the meditations 1 and 2. The meditations were up to 6 reflections. Reflection 1, reflection 2. Then he will write it down as an article. That's what happened. So reflections 1 all the way to 6. When we do rationalism, we may do the rest. But for introduction, we'll just do meditations 1 and 2, where first he casts doubt on the senses. And then by the second meditation, he had arrived at certainty at last. That is what I gave you. Okay. So we have done the introduction for you to know the sources of knowledge, what the question of epistemology is, and so on and so forth, to bring us to a certain understanding when we are reading Rene Descartes, who is who? A rationalist. What makes him rationalist? We are trying to interrogate a bit of that. But in the bid to do so, we are learning his meditations 1 and 2. What is the quest? Quest means what was he looking for in that meditations paper that you are working on as a group? Descartes is looking for what can I know for certain? I, Descartes, is there anything I can be so 100% sure of? I hear things in the next minute, it's not true. Even the founders of formerly it was Founders Day, as in singular founder, the founder of Ghana. Before long, we say, no, that's wrong. That's wrong history. You're not representing the history well. It's a collection of people that founded Ghana. The senses is deceiving us left, right, center. You drive on a highway, you think you've seen a pool of water ahead of you. You get closer, it was a mirage. Look at the horizon. When you're looking across the sea and the sky join somewhere. You will think it is a meeting point. You try and go and see if you will never get there. These are all deceptions. Put ruler into water, it looks like it's broken. From the senses to the sight, to touch, to taste, we see that senses cannot be trusted. And that is what Descartes continually wanted to establish. So he says, look, I don't have to go through everything I know through the senses. I told you, circles, I think it was the first group. Sickle cell patients were told you won't exist beyond a certain age. There are some beyond that now. Oh, when you get a booster, the COVID will not come. Oh, they get it, a booster, they didn't boost a boost. Now, what are these meant to do? I said, like I've said in the past, certainty is what Descartes was looking for. You have to know what it is he was looking for to understand why he approached it the way he did. Why is Descartes asking this philosophical question of certainty? Madam Alice, you can read now. Alice Equiapare. Go ahead.
Okay, Doc. So, why is Descartes asking this philosophical question of certainty? The sources of knowledge, into brackets open senses, have deceived him in the past and thus cannot be trusted. Is it wise to trust absolutely a source which has deceived you before? Examples: the eye's deception of a marriage, tongue's deception, scientific theories turned out false, etc. The foundation on which he has built his former knowledge cannot be trusted to give him knowledge that is certain. These sources can give doubtful information, beliefs, or opinions, but can they give him what he seeks? Bracket open, that is knowledge that is certain. That
Very, mm,
that that is his quest.
well done. So everything your colleague read, I have said that. He's looking for certainty, knowledge that cannot be doubted, even to mean doubting. So if he goes on and he doesn't get any, then he will be sure that now he has arrived at what? One truth, something he knows for certain. Therefore, the doubting that Descartes set off to do is an intentional one. He intentionally doubted. I need you to understand. In the doubt. In here, I am intentionally choosing to doubt to see if I will arrive at any truth that is not doubtable. All right. If you got that, then you see why we call his method a systematic doubt. Look on my screen very well. I'm intentionally speaking slowly and allowing you the opportunity to read a slide that I suspect some of you haven't even looked at all. And it's very dangerous. No slide, no reading compiled. You won't do well in philosophy if you do that. That's a conditional statement. So if you have that attitude, you will not do well. Not because the content is not grabbable, but that posture won't work. To understand why the gentleman approached the content from a systemic doubt approach. Systemic doubt. Wahyɛ da na wasɔre na wo doubt wote because okay, I am pretending that it is not there. Why? If it is possible for me to doubt it, then it means one day it could be so. But if he did that and it turns out that there was no way you could doubt that truth, you see that, then that thing becomes what? A certainty. So he intentionally doubted that truth. Okay, Michaela, read the next one. Read this slide, please. If Michaela is not able to immediately, you can take Cliff Collins. Cliff, go ahead. Read the current. Oh, okay, you are reading. Go ahead, Michaela.
Systematic doubt. To intentionally doubt all the knowledge he has acquired to see if there will be any left that he knows for certain. That is whether there can be anything he knows that he cannot subject to this doubt. B. Foundationalism. Geometrical method. He will only look for certain truth, that is, indubitable truth, to serve as the foundation, grounds, basis, or starting point of his epistemology. So he's not looking for certainty of all knowledge. Rather, he wants certainty to serve as the foundation. If the foundation is right, then it would support all the other knowledge built on it, which on their own may not be certain. Think of Archimedes' geometrical point.
Well done. So that is what Descartes set off to do. Key point. He wasn't looking for every knowledge to be certain. And there you see that. He just wanted one specific thing that he can know with absolute certainty. So that with that, he will be able to build his whole epistemology. You're looking for a strong foundation, so you build your house on it. You don't put the kind of concrete you put in a foundation into the main building. You don't. because the main building doesn't need all the stones, concrete. It is the foundation that you are so keen on. Why? Because it has to be strong enough to hold the building. So if he finds one thing that he can know for certain, then he will ground, he will put his other knowledge claims on it. So we describe Descartes' philosophical approach as a foundationalist approach, also called the geometric approach. Look at the geometrical method. When you use a compass to draw a circle, I'm talking about the compass that draws, not the dividers, the other one in a masset. You let the compass remain fixed at one point. It is the pencil part that you twist. So when you twist the compass around to draw a circle of maybe radius 5 centimeters, so far as the pin of your compass is fixed, if it is standing at one place, you move around in circles, but the distance from the center to that place will not vary because you have a fixed standing point. When there is a foundation that is fixed and unchanging, standing firm, around it you can revolve your epistemology. It will not change. So Descartes adopted that method. That's why we call it a geometrical method. Look at it very well. He's looking for one thing he can know for certain to serve as what? The grounds on which to pursue his epistemology. I will ask you these questions. Why his method is described as a geometric or geometrical approach? Why is his method foundationalist? What do we mean by the systematic doubting method that Descartes used to arrive at what? Certainty. Now, look at his arguments. What were his arguments? Argument just means what are the reasons he offered to support the claims he was making? That's argument. So Descartes made some argument. He disagrees that we will know anything for certain through the senses. He doesn't think the senses can give us any absolute indubitable truth. What is his reasons? Limitations of the senses argument. That's the first one. The first argument he pushes is that, look, we can't trust the senses for absolute certainty. It can give us opinions and point of views and what have you. Like the doctor can give us his point of view about the issue, and the lawyer can do so. You see that opinion, beliefs, the meteorologist, but it will not necessarily be certain. Why won't we trust our senses? He says because argument number one, the senses are limited. They don't have the capacity to do some things for us. If I'm in the fourth square of my office here, and I park my car at a car park outside, I cannot see my car now. I can't hear my car. I cannot touch my car. I cannot taste. That is if I want to lick the car. So I say, then I can't taste the car. The senses cannot see, hear, touch the car. Why? Because the senses are limited. You see, it doesn't have the capacity to do certain things. It is weak. It has limitations. If I were looking at a glass of water that I'm going to drink with my eyes, I would think this is clean water and I'll gobble it down. If you gave me a microscope, I may regret drinking that water because of what I'll see. The eyes, which is part of the empirical source, the senses, is limited. When you have small, tiny things you are dealing with, it cannot see. So it will not know for certain what it is that it is seeing. You think the water is certainly clean. How did you know that? He said, I saw it. I looked inside. There was no dirt. With this eyes, Descartes said, no, it is not able to give you certainty because of one, its limitations. Okay. The ones I told you about, I entered the room and T and I was outside. And so the person heard, oh, it is T and Nana that is coming. Or I heard a voice, it's T and Nana, he's coming. So let's wait for him. The person enters, it is T. William. Or the person enters, it is T. Harrison. I thought it was T and Nana. So no. T and Nana is not here now. He's not even on city campus. Ah, really? I saw him. Then it turns out that no, he's teaching somewhere. So it was just what? My eye that deceived me. If the eye is that's, untrustworthy, if the ear, we thought it heard Dr. Miles coming in, not know it wasn't him. Sorry, it was C. William. I heard it, and it was a deception. I can go on and on and on. Then there we come. Descartes says, because of this limitation of the senses, when it comes to, when it comes to distant and what small objects of sight, of hearing, etc., because the objects are small and they are far away from me, it's distant, like the mirage when I'm driving. Because of that, I can't trust this limited senses to give me certainty about such objects of what the senses. That's the first level of doubting what the senses. The limitations of the senses argument therefore doubt small and what distant objects. However, what if the thing is so close? So close, ladies and gentlemen, listen attentively. What if I'm seeing something that is so close to me, it's not far away, so that you will say that because it was too distant. I saw the University of Ghana Tower and I saw it from up the helicopter or inside the plane. So I thought it was a matches box size until when I came closer, then I said that one is when the thing is far away. Yate. What if it is so close to you like this, like the laptop is sitting in front of me and I'm sitting this close? Can I deny? Should I say that the senses didn't give me true knowledge? Abba, this is laptop sitting on your desk. You are sitting down. You see laptop. This one too, you say the senses didn't tell me. Like the way some of you saw, maybe you saw the thief. He pulled the thing, gani in front of you, pulled the phone. This one too, should we go and talk philosophy and grammar? Now listen. That is when Descartes, remember what he's doing, was shed that air doubt. He has intentionally decided that I will try and doubt everything, raise every possible doubt until I get something that it is not possible to doubt. Who doubt it and doubt it? See, then I will use that one. So if I raise a doubt and it can work, I'll use it until I reach something that cannot be doubted. That's the systematic doubt we refreshed our memories on. Okay, so imagine what happens. This is Descartes now trying to doubt close and what obvious sensory knowledge. Let me enlarge it a bit for you to see. I'm not talking about distant and far away sensory. No, not this one is something that is very close and obviously the case that I am sitting here and see with a laptop in front of me, engaging my class. Why should that also be doubted? Isn't it so obvious? And didn't I see it with my eyes? Isn't everything that my eyes tells me that is doubtable? Even when it comes to close and obvious sensory knowledge. In other words, objects of sight, hearing. Should we doubt this one too? Now listen. Descartes says it is possible to doubt that also. Because when we dream, there comes the dream argument. So listen, you need the dream argument to doubt sensory knowledge. But which type of sensory knowledge? Those that are close and obvious, not far and distant objects. You don't need the dream argument to doubt far and distant sensory knowledge. No, that one, the limitations of the senses argument is enough to deal with it. Here, you need the dream argument for what? Close objects. See how many times I've said the same thing? It's intentional. Because you need to know that. So he says, when we dream, this is the reason why we can doubt close and obvious sensory knowledge. When we dream, we see things so closely. Let me give you an example. People dream standing by a gutter, mostly brothers. The gutter is just in front of him, and he feels like what? Discharging. Wee. Okay, Michaela. It feels like discharging, and the gutter is so close. And then Wafa brother discharges. He only wakes up to realize that there was no gutter. Ah, but I saw gutter. You were dreaming. Ejankuto, now wada. Moframu wahi. Wamwada. You are asleep. Hey, but it was so close. Yes. Some dream that a dog is chasing them, Michaela. The dog's sound, your ears, right? The dog's sight, you saw it. The sound, you heard it. Maybe even beat you a little in the dream. You feel the touch. You start running. Some run out of the room daytime. The body itself lifts itself and starts running because the dream was so real. Until you catch them, hey, where are you going? And say, hey, it's coming. Then everybody says, whoa, you were dreaming. But there is no dog in the room there. You see the point? You only realize that it was a dream when you wake up. The thing was so close to you. I mean, some are married to their celebrities in their dream. You may kiss the bride until they hit you. I think I saw Go For His thing in the woman's song. He was everything. And then Acrobatus on too. Yeah. He had been given an award internationally, BBC and everything. He had come for meritorial whatever from University of Ghana. Also, until he woke up, he was lying in his bed. The point we are making, therefore, is just so you can connect. Descartes says, when we dream, things are so real. You may kiss the bride. The brother is kissing the sister in the dream. A sister he cannot even gather courage to say, I love you in real life. In the dream, they are married. They have 2 children. Until he wakes up. When he wakes up, you say, I thought I was. It was so close, like mouth to mouth. You kiss the brother. Hey, you people, you like these examples, eh? Until he woke up. So Descartes says, if this is true, Michaela dear, then what does it tell us, Jessica? Everyone, watch. Then it means Descartes says we want to be careful when we think, oh, this one there is so close. So the senses told me that we can trust that. He says we can't even trust that also. Why? Because we could be dreaming and seeing and hearing and touching and tasting. And I jokingly tell students all the time, I said someone may just wake up in their dream and realize that the whole thing called philosophical questions and University of Ghana and the black classroom that we're in, it's all a dream. That's, I mean, you could just wake up. Who is on my screen there? Benedicta or Jessica. You could wake up and then not know you are, I don't know, maybe Bill Gates' daughter, and you have about 10 princesses around you, slaves, whatever, serving you. You are sleeping on a big mattress somewhere. You wake up and, say, Daddy, I had a bad dream. I had a bad dream, And the question is, what was your dream about? I was in some damn shit hole, you see. And some people were in the class. I mean, it's a crowd. So many people would. You may just be about, Jessica, you like it. You may just be waking up in some few minutes. It is when you wake up that you can tell the difference between dream and what real life situation. Salamat Suleiman, idea. That is what Descartes is doing. He says, if that is possible at all, then we cannot trust even obvious sensory knowledge that this sense is giving us. We can't trust it. With that one, he discards and throws out the certainty of empirical truth. I hope I took my time to help you out. Those who have read, now things have fallen into place. I want to take Siba. Oh, Siba, I hope I pronounce your name well. Okay, read for me now. Mufida. Go ahead, Mufida. Please read what I have just communicated on your slide, and we'll move on.
His twofold arguments for doubting sensory knowledge. seeing and hearing. 1. The limitation of the senses arguments to doubt far and distant objects of sight, hearing, etc. The dream argument to doubt close and obvious objects of sight, hearing, etc. I see things that are close and obvious but only turn out to be false because it was only a dream senses as a foundation for my epistemology. Note, this is an intentional doubt.
Very good. It's an intentional doubt. Not that he's crazy or he's stupid or this philosopher is cry. What? No, he's intentionally doing that. It can help you solve a problem and the law of God. Yeah. It will help us deal with a medical issue very soon, very sensitive matters. If you reflect on the method that was adopted by the gentleman, trying to attain true indubitable knowledge. Could it have been a mistake in the report, the blood samples? Could there have been a change of blood samples mistakenly at the lab? Can we have a second opinion? It is an opinion in Adolfo. It is not a certainty, what you heard from the meteorologist or the doctor or the lecturer if the person is depending on what is empirically given. Even God likes to give you another emphasis and another emphasis and another emphasis. Do you know why? Because what I saw, I may have been hallucinating. Yeah, may. So sometimes you get a first clue and a second clue and a third, just so you can be able to build a certain confidence that I think this is not a coincidence. God, the creator. Now would me then you human being. So if the doctor said no, the way I see this thing, it looks like he can't make it. Thank God for his opinion. But he could be wrong if he is depending on the empirical. That is what Descartes' discussion does for us. Oh, go to the law court. We saw him, yes, with a gun, yes. His fingerprint on it, yeah. How many witnesses? 1,000, no problem. So what? Instant justice is a lie. But the guy is killed. Who told you? Could you have been dreaming? Oh, but all of us can dream. Oh, really? Maybe one of us is dreaming. All of us are in one person's dream. We have to be patient with ourselves. If it's a dream, wake up. Pinch us. Pinch us. Some people are enjoying a certain kind of life. They say, hey, pinch me. Let me see if this is real. You know? So it sounds abstract until you see its practical relevance. If the people in that town there, apologies, who killed the man, I mean, they stoned him to death, Major Mahama, if they had a tutelage in this, just a little bit of it, it doesn't have to be called Descartes meditation, just a reflection on the possibility that we may be wrong about what we are seeing or hearing. We wouldn't have killed the man the way they did. They killed him like an animal, stoned him. Look at the videos. Why? So just in case someone is thinking about this is a waste of time or so what would this do? It is human life we are studying like that. Justice to law court, to medical practice, to health, etc. Okay, so now we move on to his third level, a systematic doubt that now he wants to apply to the other source of knowledge. So the earlier ones we've done attempted to reflectively engage the question of the source of knowledge, which is the first one, the senses, the empirical source. Now he addresses the rational source. There are truths that we know that are not dependent on the senses. So if you read the meditation too, he tried to show you that whether I'm dreaming or awake, a square is a four-sided figure. 2 plus 3, he used 2 plus 5, so let's use that. 2 plus 5, whether in a dream or wakeful state, is still what, 7. If I'm dreaming, concepts are the same. The reason why I was running in the dream is because dog is dog. The meaning of dog is not defined by the dream or the wakeful state. So let's use the concepts that are described as a priori concept. Look on my screen, I'm highlighting that. Look, this one, this word. A priori, that's how you say it. A priori, okay? A priori. It means knowledge that comes to you prior to observation. So it is the mind that does it. You know it before you even observed. We call them a priori truth. Then we have a posteriori truth. That is truth that depends on experience. You see to know, you hear to know. Okay. So far you see that a priori, a posteriori mimic rationalism, what? Empiricism. You learn more later. You can't learn everything in a day. So let me give you the key things. Now, a priori knowledge is what? Knowledge that comes to you prior to what? Experience. So it doesn't depend on experience. Whether you are rationalist or empiricist, you know that a bachelor cannot beat his own wife. That cannot happen. Oh, Tom, excuse me. A bachelor cannot beat his own wife. He cannot do it. Oh, Doc, why are you saying cannot? It can't happen. If he is a bachelor, he cannot have a wife, let alone beat her. It is in the meanings of term. We know this prior to exactly. We know it a priori. We know it prior to experience. Don't come to. I said all that in critical thinking. So this is City Campus. You are all doing critical thinking now. So you don't need to see. Don't say, but let me show you the video pictures of the video and the sound that the girl made. Oh, she was so much in pain. She cannot be a wife beaten by a bachelor who is her husband. Doesn't make sense. Conceptually, the concept of bachelor cannot cohabit with what? Having a wife of your own if you're a bachelor. So these are a priori prior to experience. Okay, that's why a square is a four-sided figure. It's like that. There are definitions. That's the meaning of the term. Whether I see it in a dream or I see it in actual life, it won't matter. It will still be a square. So I haven't negated that yet, says Descartes. I haven't doubted that. Could it be therefore that a priori truths have necessity? Are they certainly true? That is what he's going to do next. Look at the third argument. So his arguments, number 1 and 2, challenge what? Sensory knowledge. But his argument number 3, which we are going to look at, is not targeting sensory knowledge again. Sensory knowledge has been beaten. It is lying down flat in the ring. It can't do anything. In Descartes' hands, I mean, okay? So we are now targeting the other opponent for Descartes. Why opponent? Because he wants to pull them down to see what can be known. So we are now targeting a priori knowledge that is given by the pure activity of the mind. Descartes says, can I doubt that one too? He says, well, I can. It looks like 2 plus 5 is necessarily 7. Whether I'm dreaming or awake, it will be necessarily 7. But what if, there we go, what if 2 plus 5 should have been 30? But a powerful demon, why demon? He wants an evil person because the entity is going to deceive. So it can be a good source. What if a powerful, smart guy, but who is evil, smart entity, power, source, somewhere, is the one deceiving me? In other words, deceiving what? My mind into thinking that a square is a four-sided figure, when a square should have been three-sided figure. What if? Is that possible? He says, oh, if that is possible, then it means even a priori truth, I can doubt it. Someone will say, oh, Doc, but this doubt there is far away. Can it be doubted? That's the question. If it can, then in the hands of René Descartes and his systematic doubting method, that truth cannot hold water. It can be doubted. Then it is not indubitable. So the evil genius argument, genius means a smart guy, right? Smart entity. So a smart entity, I say entity because it might not even be a human being. Yeah, very good. Now the things are clear. I see Kakre's thumbs up, and then I saw Alice, and I keep seeing Jessica and the others. I see you all, eh? If you did a little reading and it was not too clear, now you see that, okay, that is, yes, that's what is happening. He says, then even a priori concepts like a square is a four-sided figure. That's a statement of truth, right? Or 2 + 5 = 7. These are supposed to be necessarily true. Necessarily true. They are called a priori. We shouldn't have doubted them. But Descartes said, I can still doubt that. I am subjecting that to doubt by appealing to the possibility of what an evil genius or evil demon who is perhaps making me think that a square is a four-sided figure, when in fact a square should have been three-sided. If that is possible, then even a priori concept cannot be trusted. Now, at this stage, we were done with Meditations 1, which is the first night. Descartes went home a bit troubled because it looks like A. So there is nothing that we can trust and know it for certain at all. So we will continue living in eternal doubt about everything around us. That's so frustrating. The gentleman goes to bed and then wakes up the next day to continue with his reflection, which is what? His meditations. By day 2, however, look on my screen, certainty at last. Certainty at last. What has happened? Certainty at last. What has happened? Certainty at last. Now look on my screen. Descartes had realized by the second night that, look, there is one thing that I think keeps running through in all my doubting process, in my search for certainty. I realized that all these times, whether I'm being deceived by my senses, or I'm being deceived by the dream, or I'm being deceived by the evil genius, I have to exist. I, Descartes. I have to exist before the deception can take place. They want to deceive me, no problem. My eyes are deceiving, but I have to exist before I will be deceived by the dream. You see, it has to be me that is being deceived. If I don't exist, what is that thing that is being deceived? So it looks like my existence. Who is the mind talking now? Descartes alone. He cannot tell whether you and I exist because he knows I exist by seeing me. He doesn't trust the eyes any longer. Even his own body, he cannot tell if it exists. How do you know you have a body? You touch it or see it or smell it or taste it. These outlets have all been discredited. They are not trustworthy. Again, I'm talking the senses. So Descartes' existence is not talking about his body. His body, he cannot vouch for its existence with certainty because the source that is giving him that knowledge cannot be trusted. I've said that already. So there is something in his being that exists. Certainly. What is that thing? Descartes says, whatever it is that is deceived. Because I know that I'm being deceived, or I could be deceived by the senses. An evil demon could be deceiving me to think that a square is a four-sided figure, when maybe a square shouldn't be a four-sided figure. I may be dreaming that I'm holding a lecture, when in fact maybe I am someone else's baby or something somewhere. All these are deceptions. But these deceptions can go on only when I am there. I, Descartes. The I, whatever that I represents, must be there before the deception can take place. Not God or the evil demon or the external world or the dream can deceive me about my own existence. That says Rene Descartes. Why? Because, oh dear, because Because for these entities, positive or negative, to deceive me, I must exist. I must exist. If I'm not there, what are they deceiving? See? So I must be there to be deceived about my own existence. Now, he goes further to say, maybe I am lying to myself. Well, he says, even then, I must exist to be able to lie to myself that I exist. Voila, certainty at last. We have hit it. Pum, that is it. The truth that he exists anytime he's thinking cannot be doubted. Look at that. If I am thinking that I exist, then I exist. Why? Because if I don't exist, what is the thing that is thinking that it exists? Oh, but maybe you are deceiving yourself. Well, for me to deceive myself, I must exist to do the deceiving of myself. Oh, sir. Let me try and doubt my existence too. Well, if I would doubt that I exist, I have to exist first to be able to do the doubting that I exist. You see that it's incontrovertibly true. Absolutely certain. What is absolutely certain? Look on your screen now, everyone. These are very technical, but I hope that they became simple for you. Watch. I must exist to doubt that I exist. Why? Because if I don't exist, I cannot even do the doubting of my existence. So by the end of meditation 2, look on your screen, please, I'm done. Descartes realizes that there is one thing he can know for certain, one indubitable truth. What is it? That is, that he exists anytime he thinks of it. If he's not thinking, doubting, affirming, denying, being deceived, then he cannot be sure of his existence. But if he is thinking or doubting or affirming or denying that he exists, the present continuous tense, you see, the thing is going on. The thinking, doubting, affirming, denying is going on. Then it tells he himself that then he exists. Because he has to be in existence to doubt, to be doubting and affirming and denying that he exists. Doc, what if it's that evil demon thing that is there? Well, for him to be deceived even by the conjured evil demon, he, Descartes, must still exist before the deception, the deceiving can go on. So he comes to the conclusion that cogito, look on the screen, cogito ergo sum. Look here, this one. Cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. I think, therefore I am. My existence is predicated upon, or better still, it's conditioned upon my thinking. If I am thinking, then it tells me I exist. And the thinking is open. It's not just mental thing, like thinking one. Doubting is a mental state as well. Being deceived is a mental state. That's what he means. Whenever I am conscious. So when you do philosophy of mind later, you will see that you will see consciousness, the state of being, and all the philosophical problems it unravels. You can engage them later. But if I am thinking, then it tells me that I exist. I think, therefore I am. That means if thinking is not going on, affirming is not going on, doubting is not going on, being deceived is not going on, etc., I am unable to tell whether I exist or not. So the continuity of my existence, Descartes hasn't talked about it as Descartes. But anytime I am being deceived, my existence is certainly sure because I have to exist to be deceived even by my own self. Brothers and sisters in the Lord, with that, Descartes has arrived at something that he can know for certain, that cannot be doubted. Why? Because to doubt it, he must exist. His existence must be established before he can even doubt his own existence. The certainty he's looking for, he has arrived at it. in meditation 1. See the reason why they call him the father of modern philosophy, of course, in Western thought, the father of modern philosophy. But the thinking is deep, the reasoning is rigorous. He is a mathematician, so he likes deduction. He's a geometric whatever. So he did a lot of what proofs. If this, then that. Now we are back. Then this must follow. Okay. Now he adopted the foundationalist approach, and here we are. He has hit certainty at what? At last. Now, all these ones I've said, think of it. He must exist before he can be deceived by the senses, the dream, the evil genius, or even his own mind. Remember, it is not his body that exists. He cannot tell if he has arms or legs or nose or whatever. Because those ones, he would know it only through the senses. So it is doubtful. But the thing, keep looking, that doubts, the thing that affirms, the thing that denies, that thing is what he, Descartes, has established, that he knows its existence certainly. So he exists as what? A thinking thing. Whatever it is that thinks is that thing that is accountable for his existence. That is what we have put on the screen, and I would want your colleague to read that as we grind to a halt for today. I want to take Queen. Is it Queen? How is it? Oh, Queen, your hand just shut down. No, it's still there. Queen will read for me. Queensland, Kakra. Go ahead.
The trustworthy source of knowledge. The source that reveals the truth of the car is the mind. So the car will trust mind as the source that can give certainty. This is why the car is described as a rationalist. He will depend on this source to build his whole epistemology in later studies. For now, indubitable truth or certainty for the car is he exists anytime he thinks of it.
Very good.
Therefore, he exists as a thinking thing. That is a thing that thinks, affirms, denies, etc.
Well done. Your IA questions are all over the place in these discussions you're having, all over the place. You have to be able to engage when you are asked the question. I think the way we have done it, you should be able to do it easily, no matter the twists and turns we put to it. Okay. So you know, thank you, Queensland. So we go here, and what are the practical relevance, or what is the practical relevance of this Cartesian doubt? Look at the word, like Ghanaian. You don't say Descartesian, you say Cartesian. So just in case you see it, it is referring to Descartes. Ghana, Ghanaian, Descartes, Cartesian. So the question is, suppose I ask you an essay question, discuss with any three practical illustrations the relevance of the Cartesian doubt to law, medicine, etc. Full stop. That's a beautiful, very open essay question. You have to show us you know Descartes. What did he say? What did he arrive at? How rigorous was his method? This in a paragraph or two. Then you can now connect. This method he adapted is useful. I've already done that with you, Paul, to us in legal practice. For example, mob justice or instant justice may never be justified if you engage Descartes' arguments. First of all, our senses may be limited. The eyewitness, the grandma who was sitting in her bedroom and said, I saw the guy run here holding the gun. He picked it. I saw it. Yes, she saw it. What did she see? Could she have been hallucinating? Could it be that it was the thief that shouted when he saw that pressure don't come? You too started shouting, thief, thief, thief. He has run, he has passed here, let's follow. He is the thief. Could it? Do you see what I'm doing? I said could it. Could it is a Cartesian methodology. Yeah. A bit to me and say, or no moon or ye, no. Could it be Banya boji julo? If they are going to be caught, they do that. Oh, so you don't have to be daft. Could the person be deceiving you about he being the boss? The boss has traveled for a conference for 2 weeks. And because he will not keep long, he has left his keys and cars and everything with the security man. You too, you saw house keys. The guy is driving the car. All these 3 days or so, he brings it to so and so and go. You say, afa. The clothing he's wearing, everything, they are not for him. Jessica, they are for his boss. Oh. He takes you to the house. He said, hey, if it wasn't for him and Anka, look, I've been there. Nobody has. Their boss has traveled for 2 weeks. Conference. Master bedroom. Keys. He knows everything. He's a security in the house there. Respect to us fine security gentlemen. But the house and all those remote control gate is not his. Could it? Could it? Systematic doubt. Person will be some question. They don't want to ask anything. You just want to gobble it in and swallow and go. It won't work. Read Descartes. It's so relevant. I told you about the gentleman and the stoning. Very pathetic situation. Why would they kill him like that? Even granted that whatever accusation they leveled against him was true. Is that how to punish a human being? See a goat. So a little bit of this will show you the relevance. I mentioned medicine. I have given you instances of that. Could the doctor be wrong? Could the diagnosis be correct for today but not for tomorrow? That we may find a higher version of whatever we have, which will deal with that, mosquito biting that we think is demons that are killing people. It might not be demons. It might be mosquito. Chloroquine or artemether lumefantrine may deal with it. You see? Yeah. The person we call insioba, the person who is sick, I mean, I don't know how to even say it, born differently, having certain incapacities. That we say, oh, he's a water baby. Go and give it back to the water. It is based on what you do now. I don't know the examples to you. You have to make such abstract discussions relevant to everyday life. And I could ask you those kinds of questions in essay form, so you feel free and write. Or I could also ask you for the IE. As for the IE, you do essays. Okay. So short. For now, should I even say these things? I'm not sure yet. Mainly MCQs. Okay, because of the time and then the nature of the questions. MCQs just means multiple choice questions. What you call objectives, you should be able to answer. Very good. I am done. Ajedu, your hand shot up earlier, Augustina. Okay, so let me show you. We are done, but let me just use a minute to show you the Descartes document itself. Thank you. I see your reactions here. So let me show you that one in a minute or so, and then you can go. So that those who are working with it, I asked the main campus students, I've made a Tuesday group, that all of you may do your individual submission of the Descartes paper as well. Then I will choose assignment 1, individual assignment 1, and individual assignment 2, this one. The one you fared better in, I will choose that. So let's say you got 7/10 for one, the other one 9/10. I'll choose the 9/10 to represent your 10 marks for the assignment. Okay, if you do both, fine. I won't hold you. I just want one. But I like it when people do. I do a lot of work when that happens. I have to grade thousands of you over and over again. One set of assignment over 1,000 people, another set over 1,000, another set over 1,000. But if that helps the student to improve their writing and garner some marks that they have earned, then I don't have a problem. Whilst those who just joined up the sites are making their makeups, you can have that as another opportunity. So to then I pick the best. Then no one has been cheated. Okay, you can do that. I'll mark it for you. I don't remember the due date. I think it's 29th or so. I don't remember. Now look at this and let me end with it. I'm showing you the excuse me, the text itself, the Descartes text. This is the raw text. I found a version that is not too King James language. Okay, So look at it. This is it. It is at the resource too. It's not in anybody's pocket. It's also in the compiled reading for those who may want a hard copy, which your class rep and other people assisted you to get. Look, meditation 1 of the things on which we may doubt. It tells you the things that we may doubt. And this is where he argues to show you that your senses are not trustworthy. Okay. For several years now, a lot of things which were people's views, opinions, have turned out to be false. This is it. That's how it starts. Highly doubtful. Telling you that the senses have continually given me, so-called knowledge that turned out to be just opinions and falsehoods. The whole paragraph that did that. Now I want to engage it to see if I can arrive at anything that I can know for certain. Look at this, manifestly false. Things that turned out to be manifestly false. Yeah. So he says, I'll do that. All that I have up to this moment accepted as, I'm reading here. Look, as possessed of the highest truth and certainty, I received either through or from the senses. I observe, however, that these sometimes misled us. Watch, this is it. The senses sometimes misled us. Yeah. And it is the part of prudence in Idaho not to place absolute confidence. You can trust it for a while, but not absolute trust in that which has once deceived you. The same Johnny Bravo who deceived you, you are going to trust. The Bible says, cursed is the one who puts his trust in his fellow man. What do you think that means? You cannot put your absolute, look at the word, absolute trust in a human person. It's a lie. Why? Because human beings deceive. They lie. They change their mind, etc. Okay. Let that symbolism help you see it. So if the thing has deceived me before, says our friend here, then I cannot absolutely trust it. What is he referring to? The senses I've showed you. That's the paper. But it may say, so he takes them one after the other from eyes to ears to, so look at it. When you read that is it, to whatever. Then this is where he starts. Let us suppose that we are dreaming. Then he goes on. So the dream argument comes in. They are not simply imaginary. Then he touches on it. I hope you can see head, hands, like, imaginary, blah, 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 blah. Then he introduces the evil demon argument. That's when it comes to certain concepts, they are necessarily true because they are a priori in nature. You find them in arithmetic geometry. So I use a square as a four-sided figure. I gave you some physics to show you that those ones, their truth or falsity are known a priori. Please look on my screen. Look, this is it. Whether I am awake or dreaming, it remains true that 2 and 3 make 5, and that a square has but 4 sides. Very good. I'm happy I saw this for you. Look at it. Here, he has started addressing the possibility that there might be a priori truth, and that one cannot be doubted. That one comes from what mind? Then he raises a query against that. That could be coming from an evil demon, not God. God, who is all powerful and good, blah, blah, blah. He wouldn't be the source of evil. So it could be coming from a deity that is what? Evil. And then he goes on to argue. Look at it from here. All these talking evil demons. But then it turns out, so you go read that, not that deity, not God, but what? An evil one. All these. Now, this is meditation 2, where he gets certainty at last. He was so distressed, supposedly, that it turns out that I cannot know anything for certain, but then he comes to the truth. I'm trying to find, I think, therefore I am, then I'm done. There we go. This one. Doubtless then I exist since I am deceived. If I am deceived, then I exist. Because if I don't exist, what is the thing that is deceived? I see it on your page 5. Okay. When you read, look out for it. I exist since I am deceived. And let him deceive me as he may. He can never bring it about that I am nothing. So long as I shall be conscious that I am something. So when I'm thinking of it, when I'm doubting, when I'm denying, when I'm adducing, then it tells me that I exist. Even when I'm doubting my own existence, assuredly, undoubtedly, look at the words, assuredly, they are all here. I can be certain, indubitably, absolutely, that I exist, insofar as I think. Okay, where is the cogito? Let us end. Okay, this alone is inseparable from me. I am, I exist. This is certain. There we go. This. But how often? As often as I think. If I am thinking, then it tells me I exist. I think we should end now. Everything else there, we have touched on it. I just pointed them out for you to see. Okay, and therefore, the thing that exists, a thinking thing, is that without, that's all the thinking, all the doubting. Descartes says, I cannot be sure that the rest of the world exists, but for my own existence, I'm certain that I exist anytime I think of it. If you don't put the condition there, your answer will be wrong. It's a conditional existence that he has established. Anytime I am thinking of it, then I know that I exist. Anytime I'm doubting, then I know that I exist. So I think, therefore I am. Cogito ergo sum. And on that note, I am done. Any questions? Good job. Thank you, Alice. Quincy, is there a question or this is where you read for me? Thank you, Erica, Michaela. I see you all, okay?
Yeah,
Now,
I
go ahead. It's fine. Actually, it was to read. Okay, then let's take the other two. Maybe Natasha, I see your hand as well. Thank you all very much. So I'll take Ibrahim's question and then afterwards, Pobi. Maybe I stop the recording because I want to share it to the sites, both main and city campus. I think it will help a lot of people. Okay, so